Hey guys, welcome to today's live stream. If we haven't met before, welcome. I'm Monique Bradley. I've lost more than 40 kilos in weight. I've completely transformed my life and my health through basically changing the way I eat. For me, I'm not great with a whole lot of carbohydrates, so I've learned to modify recipes and basically create yummy alternatives for foods that I really love. And I don't know about you guys, but there is nothing I love more than really good cookies. And I really love crackers. So I thought I'd show you a really fast and easy recipe tonight that you can use to either make cookies, low carb version, or you can also use the same recipe to make crackers as well. So it's incredibly versatile. The key ingredient in this recipe tonight is actually almonds. The reason why I love almonds is that a small handful will give you 6 grams of protein. So first of all, you're going to get extra protein in there. Almonds are loaded with fiber. There's a heap of really good fats in them, vitamin E. There's manganese and magnesium in there, and magnesium has been known to help people with their blood sugars, control their blood sugars, and it's also really good to help if you've got blood pressure challenges as well. Antioxidants. Almonds have been known to help reduce hunger and help with weight loss. And I don't know about you guys, but I love good food that's going to help me lose weight at the same time. By the way, that's my web address there you've just seen at the bottom. I've got a heap of recipes on my website. I'd love you to head to my website, moniquebradley.tv. Try them out for yourself. They're recipes I eat every day, and they're low carb or keto recipes, but if you're not a low carber but you like to reduce your calories, all of the recipes are relatively calorie conscious as well. So I know for a fact that tonight, while this recipe is low carb, it's keto as well, but it's also about 40, every cookie, if you make it as a cookie, is just 47 calories. If you make it as a cracker, which is smaller, it's probably going to be half the amount of calories. And the great thing about this is you can make it vegan by, instead of using an egg in the recipe, you can use what's called a chia egg, which I'm going to show you how to make shortly too. Look, seriously, so good. For whatever way you want to plan your eating style, it's healthy and delicious and loaded with nutrition. So I wanted to say hi, Raja, watching over in India. And is that James watching as well? Good to see you. Nice to see you. Please like and share tonight's video as well. This is so cool. I love this recipe. I use it all the time. Okay, I'm going to start here. I've got slivered almonds in my bowl. I've got 3/4 of a cup of slivered almonds. Super easy, really cheap at the supermarket. Love them, got them from the bulk bin. Now I'm going to add into here a whole lot more nuts. So I have got about half a cup of mixed nuts here. Now it's really important to think about the nuts you're going to add, because you want to mix up the flavors a bit, and you're going to grind these down smaller to form part of your cookie or your cracker. I've got in here some cashews. Cashews are slightly higher in carbs, so if you are really mindful of being keto, you probably want to reduce the carbs and maybe change it out for peanuts or for macadamia nuts, which are really fantastic. I do have some other almonds in there because I just really love them. Now I'm going to blitz these down into tiny little bits. And they're basically going to form the basis of my mix here. So not quite an almond meal or an almond flour, but a really nice, slightly grainy breadcrumb style mix, which is going to basically help bind the whole recipe together. Hi, Tony. Good to see you. Nice to see you on the stream tonight, honey. These are cookies, by the way. Vishav will love them, so you're gonna need to make them. So 3/4 of a cup of slivered almonds, and I've got some yummy mixed nuts on here as well. So about half a cup. Now we've got 2 choices when it comes to binding them together. We can either add an egg white, but for those of you who have egg allergies, or you might be vegan or vegetarian and you don't like to eat eggs, we can make what's called a chia egg. Now, chia seeds are fantastic. They are loaded with fiber. So I'll show you how to make a chia egg. In here, I've got 3 tablespoons of water. I like to make it not freezing cold water because, you know, I want these chia seeds to feel loved and cared for. I've got 1 tablespoon of chia seeds that are going to go in there. So 3 tablespoons of water to 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Now, just about any recipe that has an egg required in it, if you don't have an egg, this is your new egg. You want to mix that around and it will basically become gelatinous. So it will work in the same way that an egg does. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my outfit today, Raja and Tony. Thank you so much. Very, very nice. Oh, is Keelan watching? G'day, nephew. How are you doing? I can't see who's watching today, so I'm not sure. Okay, don't ask. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we're going to mix that up. Now, in just a couple of minutes, that will go really gelatinous and thicken up. So that is your alternative. I'll show you that. Tonight, however, I want an slightly extra hit of protein. Chia seeds will give you some protein. However, I want a little bit more. And so for me, an egg white's going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to add my egg white in here. Oh yeah, that's so good. These are so delightfully messy. This is like therapy. It's so good. So an egg white goes straight into the mix. And pretty much, aside from your flavorings, that is the entire recipe, which you might think, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Sorry for getting my fingers all up in that, but you know, my house, my recipe, I will wash my hands. Now, how I stumbled across this recipe is that I was making some savory nuts, and savory nuts works the same. You basically grab a whole lot of plain nuts, so unroasted, unsalted, unflavored, and you put them about 1.5 cups into a container with 1 egg white. You mix it through, spread it out onto a baking tray. I would cover it with, say, a garlic salt or something like that. And then I thought, oh, I wonder if you can blend it all down and use that same recipe to make, you know, no baking powder, nothing in this recipe other than eggs and nuts to make a really delicious cookie or a cracker. And it turns out you absolutely can. So I tried it the other week when I was making my, my low carb cheesecake kind of marshmallow cheesecake recipe, and I actually used these cookies as the base and they worked beautifully. So what happens is when you cook them, the egg white or the chia egg is what binds the whole thing together. So you get this really nice, light, crunchy, crispy cookie. The thinner you make them, the crispier they're going to be. So when you're making a cracker, as an example, you probably want it to be relatively thin. When I made the cookies yesterday in preparation for today's show, I made them slightly thicker. So for those of you watching in New Zealand, the consistency is a little more like an Anzac cookie. So I've got 2 different types of recipes I'm going to make with the same mixture tonight. Just an update on the chia egg. You'll notice it's starting to get thicker there in the bottom. I'll give it another stir. So it starts to go really gelatinous. So if you're making a cake and you've got somebody in your house who is egg intolerant, this is your egg alternative. I wouldn't use it if you're going to, say, glaze something like fathead pizza dough, or if you do eat carbohydrates, I wouldn't use it for a glaze for pastry or anything like that, but really good as a binding agent. So you see how that's thickened up? Perfect. Look at that, nice and gelatinous. And by the end of the live stream, it'll be super, super thick. Now, if you're making this recipe and 1 egg white is a little too small, you can actually make a little bit of a chia egg. So basically, the recipe means that for every single serving of whatever you're using, so for every teaspoon of chia seeds you use, you would use 3 teaspoons of sort of tepid water. So for me, 1 tablespoon means 3 tablespoons of tepid water, and that's basically, it's a 1-to-3 ratio for making your chia egg. So if you're using this and you even notice that maybe I don't have enough egg in there, you could even take a little bit of that chia mixture and it's going to add a little bit of extra fiber and added protein in there as well. Okay, so that's my mix. How easy is that? Now I'm actually going to spread it into 2 containers because I'm going to make it savory and sweet for you guys. So here we go, some of it into there. That's going to be my sweet one. I'll just pop that back into the container, and that's going to be my savory. Okay, so for the sweet one, here's what I want to add. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of vanilla essence because I really love vanilla, but you could mix it up. You could use maybe some lemon rind in there. You could, yeah, that's probably about 1/2 teaspoon. And I'm going to mix that all through, and that's going to be really lemony. However, lemony, really vanilla-y, if that's a proper word. I also want to add into the mix, I've got my spice kit here, which I absolutely adore, my favorite thing. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of allspice in there. Nope, I have to work out which one's which. That's it. Is that it? Here we go. Or I could add some ginger. Nope, that's cumin. Cinnamon. Allspice. So I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of allspice into the mix there as well, and that's going to be absolutely delicious. So allspice, vanilla, and again, that's going to help bind the whole thing together as well. I really like that. I think that's delicious. Now, if you've done like me and you've probably added a little bit too much vanilla essence, take a little bit from your other mix, pop it back in there again, mix it through. Okay, that's looking really good. Now you might look at this and think, how on earth is that going to bind together? The answer is beautifully. So that egg white will activate in the oven as it cooks, and the whole thing will magically hold together. So I know I can put little bits of this mixture just out like this, and by simply squashing it all together, as it cooks, those fibers in the protein will basically create the perfect cookie. I know, right? So simple. I'll use a spoon for this actually. So nice and easy, just like that. And you can make them as big or as small as you like. Just be mindful that the average size cookie, so this recipe I've put onto my website, I've said it makes 10, which works out the to give you an idea of the calories involved in the recipe. But if you make them bigger or smaller, you know, you'll be having more or less calories. It's really that simple. What I would do too, so we've got some allspice in there. What I should have actually added, but I'll add it on top instead, is a little bit of sweetener. So I don't know about you guys, but I do like a cookie with a little bit of sweetness in there. Now, by the way, sorry if I'm not saying hi to you if you're on tonight's live stream. But something's happened to, oh, here we go. I lost my Facebook page. Now I can see you guys. Hi. Okay. So I would also sprinkle just a tiny wee bit of, I've got some powdered stevia right here. You can sprinkle a little bit of that on top. If you prefer to use monk fruit sweetener or erythritol, whatever you want to use, you can pop that on there as your sweetener. Or you can add into a mix like this, I'd probably add 1.5 teaspoons into that mix and mix it all the way through like that. And then I know it's all through the recipe. So you can do whatever you like. It's a really versatile recipe, and then take out your, and it's like really super, super delicious. And the thinner you make them, the crunchier they will be. You may need to experiment with it though, because of course, you know, eggs are different. You need to find the right size egg to be able to hold together. So there you go. So I've got some sweet cookies on there. Now with my savory recipe, it's just exactly the same, but here's the difference. We're going to add into it some sort of savory flavor. So I thought, what have I got? Garlic salt. So this is how I would make my savory nuts in the oven. Just throw in some delicious garlic salt like that. Don't know how much that was, but you know, you can make it however you like. And of course, I probably would make one separate batch of sweet and one separate batch of savory all at the same time. Sorry, separately, because I don't want to get them confused. I don't want to bite into a cookie with a cup of tea thinking it's a cookie, but it's a savory cracker. And then it's the same principle. You're just going to plop it all on there. And again, the thinner you make it, the crunchier it will be. These are really nice with some pesto and some cheese. But what is really, really delightful about these is the fact that you only need a couple because they're so incredibly filling. So I am attempting to make them a little squarer so that you can tell the difference in the shape, that these are the crackers, not the cookies. But either way, really versatile recipe. Good for savory or sweet. And now that you know how it works, is basically 3/4 of a cup of slivered almonds. You don't have to use slivered almonds. You can basically just use 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 cups of chopped nuts, and that will make a really nice base for you. So if you want to do it all with macadamias, or if you want to add seeds in there, pumpkin seeds are also fantastic in here. Whatever you like, recipe is yours now. It's just really super simple. So, oh, hi Maddie. Oh, Rochelle, good to see you, Tartlet.
You answered about doing it without the egg, I think.
Yeah, I can. So Raja, while I've used the egg in there tonight, I've made the chia egg here. So you'll notice, look at that, it's really gelatinous now. And that is absolutely your egg replacement in this recipe. And to show you, so these cookies or crackers, however you like them, go into the oven for around 10 minutes. So they cook really super fast. So I've got my crackers there, and savory crackers there, cookies on that side. Beautiful. They go straight into the oven. I'll move that out of the way for 10 minutes. So you set your oven at 200 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is, Fahrenheit. I think it's like 375. And you end up, so these are the cookies I made yesterday, and you end up with these delicious, absolutely delightful nutty cookies. These I've made slightly thicker because I like to have them with a cup of tea, and I made these using the chia egg. So you can see they hold together really well in the same way that an egg would, but you know, they still break apart and they taste, I better test them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, they're so good. So these ones have vanilla in them. That's amazing. Absolutely love them. And I know they're serving my body as well. So loads of fiber, magnesium in there, particularly good for those of you who might be getting a little bit of cramping in your legs. Just loads of goodness. So that recipe is now yours, team. Head to my website, moniquebradley.tv, and you can try these. I think it's the second recipe in as you scroll down the front page of my website. Give it a whirl. And if you try this recipe, please let me know what you think. It is so easy. If you want to add some chocolate chips in there, if you want to use some dark chocolate chips that don't have a lot of sugar, do it. Make that recipe your own. Look, you can even dip these babies in low-carb melted chocolate. There's my website just below. Head there and please like and share this recipe because I think it's an absolute winner. And for those of you who are thinking of sabotaging your weight loss or wellness goals by eating junk food, have these handy because they are loaded with goodness for your body. All right, time for me to head away. Thanks for joining me on tonight's live stream. If you've got any questions, make sure you send them through to me on the Facebook page you're watching them on. A big thanks to my producer and director, Mr. Lord Ward, courtesy of Your Fix TV. And you know what? You be fabulous. Gotta go. See you guys. Bye. Delicious.